I still remember the night she told me to leave. No shouting, no tears, just her standing by the window, arms crossed, face unreadable. "It's better if you go, Ryan," she said quietly. The same voice that once whispered love into my ear now sounded like a landlord evicting a tenant. I didn't argue. Maybe that was my first smart decision in years. We'd built our life in a small town outside Denver, a quiet patch of asphalt and promises. I'd worked construction my whole life. Hands burned, back sore, conscience clean. Sarah used to say she admired that about me, how I built things with my hands. But admiration has a short shelf life in modern love. Over time, her compliments became comparisons, her gaze lingering too long on men who made more money, wore cleaner shirts. It started small. The phone turned over during dinner, late-night office drinks, sudden obsession with appearance. I noticed but said nothing. Men like me are taught to endure, to wait it out. Until that night. "I think you should leave." No explanation. No apology. A full stop at the end of a sentence. I packed my things. One suitcase, one toolbox, and a lifetime of effort folded neatly into regret. As I closed the door behind me, I heard her on the phone. Her voice dropped to that soft, familiar tone. "He's gone." Pause, then laughter. That laughter burned in my chest for weeks. I moved into a small apartment closer to the city, took freelance road repair contracts. Not glamorous, but enough to keep the lights on. The world doesn't end dramatically. It just fades day by day, until you're living a completely different life. Months later, a county contractor called me about a small development project. A new road near the Western Ridge. The pay was good, almost too good for something so simple. I asked why. "Private investors bought the land around it," he said. "They need access built fast. Big money behind it." I checked the map. My chest went cold. The road ran straight through the neighborhood where Sarah lived. At first, I didn't want the job, it felt too close, too personal. But the more I thought about it, the more sense it made. The same woman who told me to leave now lived in a house whose value depended on a road I could control. So I signed the contract. Weeks passed. I didn't see her at first, just early mornings and long days pouring asphalt in silence into the earth. Then one afternoon by my truck I saw her, Sarah, standing at the end of the street with him, the polished man she'd replaced me with. They didn't notice me at first. When they did, her face froze. She whispered something to him and they both turned away. I smiled quietly. Roads connect everything, yes, but they can also cut people off depending on where you draw the lines. When the county updated the zoning map, I proposed minor reroutes. Nothing illegal, just small adjustments. By the time they were approved, the road no longer passed conveniently by their house. Instead, it veered slightly away, enough to erase the advantage they'd boasted about. Within months, property values started to drop. Buyers backed out. The dream neighborhood became inconvenient, and all I did was follow regulations. Fate has a sense of humor when you stop interfering. But I wasn't done. Investors started defaulting on payments. They owed the contractor who now owned partial rights to the access road me. I never planned revenge. I just didn't stop what life put in front of me. Then Sarah called one evening, the first time in a year. Her number flashed on my screen. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity has teeth. "Ryan, we need to talk." I leaned back, staring at the road I'd built, the same one curving neatly around her world. "About what?" I asked. "About selling," she said. "You're the one who owns the access rights now." I smiled faintly. "Yeah, that's right." "Can we meet?" she asked, voice breaking slightly. "Sure. Let's meet where it all started." We met the next afternoon at the cafe downtown, the same one where she once told me she couldn't imagine life without me. I arrived early. Old habits die hard. She walked in carrying the weight of years. Not physical weight, but the kind that settles behind the eyes when life starts handing back what you've thrown at it. She sat across from me, perfume familiar but faded, hands trembling as she stirred her coffee. "You look different," she said. "I feel different," I replied. Silence thick enough to fill the room. Finally she spoke. "This road situation, it's hurting people. The neighborhood's suffering. The investors pulled out. Mark and I are trying to sell before we lose everything." Mark, the man she'd chosen over me. I didn't respond. I just watched her, waiting for the part where she'd pretend it wasn't personal. She kept talking. "We need that road, Ryan. You can sell the access rights back. You'll make money. Everyone wins. Everyone. I asked quietly. You mean you and him? Her eyes flashed. Guilt, maybe pride. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. You're not that kind of man, I said faintly. She stared, realizing the tone wasn't a threat. It was worse, peace. I'm not here for revenge, Sarah, I said. But I'm not in the business of saving people who burned my house down either. Her lips parted, no sound came. I left a few dollars on the table. Good luck with the sale, I said and walked out. That should have been the end. But life has a neat sense of irony. Weeks later, the investors folded. Land deeds went up for auction. Nobody wanted plots connected to that curved road. The only bidder? Me. For the price of a used pickup, I bought the land that had once hosted the neighborhood she'd chosen over me. Surreal. Owning the symbol of my exile. I didn't rush to develop it. Grass grew through cracks, signs faded in the sun. Silence swallowed what remained. Occasionally, I'd drive past at dusk, see the for sale sign hanging in front of half-finished houses. One night, I saw her car parked outside, lights off, sitting like a ghost, waiting for permission to disappear. I didn't stop. I kept driving. Months later, a commercial developer called. They wanted the whole stretch for a logistics park. Their offer made my hands shake. I signed immediately. I walked the site one last time before handing it over, standing where our old house was visible from the ridge. The place she once said had the perfect view. She was right. I just never realized the view was of everything temporary. Bulldozers came a month later. Concrete replaced memories. The road I'd built to connect people became one that erased a past. Revenge isn't destruction. It's endurance. Letting time speak. One evening, I got a message from an unknown number. Her again. 2 words, you won. I stared at it, then deleted it. It wasn't about winning. Never was. It was about finally being free from needing her to understand what she broke. I still build roads, but these days I choose where they lead. Sometimes the best direction isn't forward or back. It's away. She told me to leave. So I did. And in doing so, I sold the very road that ruined their lives.